let me set the stage for today's episode. This isn't a surface level conversation. We're getting into real world insights, what works, what doesn't, and how to apply what you hear today in a practical way, whether you're building a business, a brand, or your next opportunity. I want you to stay with me until the very end because I'm offering a free bonus specifically for listeners who finish the episode. Something that can help you skip the line and move faster if being on this show is something you've been thinking about. All right, let's get into today's conversation. Hey guys, welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast. From Australia, I've got Jeremy Yang, a digital online ads guy. Jeremy, welcome.
Thanks, man. Great to be here.
Introduce yourself, your company, and we'll dive into the questions.
Jeremy Yang from Sydney. We started Digital Goliath, my agency, specializing in Google, Facebook, Instagram ads, started in 2019. I'm currently managing 450,000 monthly ad spend, the highest rated agency in Sydney. Half of my business is probably service, other half e-commerce.
You specialize in Google and Meta ads. The number one question on the audience mind, is it too late to get started because they're so expensive?
It's expensive for a reason, because they work. A lot of your listeners and clientele is medical practices and the kind of services. The cost per click is really high. Sometimes $35, $45, it's frightening. However, if you have the back end system worked out, you can get cost per acquisition at the right prices. But now in the medical space is the roll-up shops where they're making everything a bit more franchised, systematic, and then they bankroll practices and they drive up the prices. If you're a local business and your competitor around you, where you're really targeting, very pin drop location, if they're not that fierce, then you have a chance. If you're non-fierce competitors, you'll be very different, whether or not it's still affordable for you.
You mentioned 50% service business. What stage of the business is in terms of revenue that come to work with you?
If you're talking about typical chiropractor, dentist, that level, they need to be where they are already converting leads. They must have a track record of reviews. They're already established in the community. They have to have somebody who's answering the phones, who has a booking system. They're in a position where they're able to hand off work. There are 2-3 people inside their practice doing it. That's probably a good level to start getting into ads.
You mentioned high converting offer, product, service, staff, and budget. People are curious. The audience listening have 6-7 figure business. How do you know when a business is ready for paid ads?
I think that goes back to the offer. The medical is hard because they've never done it before. It takes planning around it. It takes creativity. They put themselves out there. Sometimes they're not comfortable coming up with an offer. That's something we can work through. It's based on the growth and other parts of digital marketing they're doing. You definitely wouldn't start with advertising. That's right. Because once they see you on the ad, that's a cold touch point. They might go, let me find out what this guy's about. Let me find out how long they've been in business for. If that back end is weak, you're not going to get the conversion and they're going to say the ads are not working.
What's the right ad budget before someone hires an agency or ad manager?
I would say go with 100 USD a day, at least. Spend in mind before you go hire ads agency, ad professional. Before that, I always recommend clients who don't have that budget, learn how to do a little bit of themselves. It's really important. Even if you do a little bit yourself and later on you hand it off, you know exactly who you're looking for and you can interview them to see if they know what they're talking about.
Quick pause here, because if this conversation is resonating with you, you'll want to stay until the very end. At the end of this episode, I'm giving listeners who finish priority access and the ability to skip the line if being a guest on this show is something you've been considering right now. No action needed. I'll share exactly how it works at the end of the episode. All right, let's get back to the conversation. While we're on the topic of ads manager, in-house versus freelancer versus agency.
In-house, you're going to need a marketing manager who has experience doing that. Otherwise, that person's going to talk to you about outsourcing. If somebody who you hire and you say, I'm going to hire a marketing manager, that person has to know how to do ads. Freelancers is hard because you don't get to talk to them when you want to. Freelancers is a temp solution. If they are good value for money, you're the stepping stone. Like they're going having a conversation, look, I'm packed out, we have to increase prices. That's going to be a tough conversation because that can come anytime. If you're going to hire agency, it's got to be at the right size. Like whatever your business has to be at the right size to match up. You want to talk to the agency about who's running the ads. If they are outsourcing it, then you're back in the same bad position. What's your experience around that?
My experience with Google and Meta ads has been okay. I wouldn't say anything. A lot of the Google ads, I'm really unimpressed by the results. When we talk about what are the real needle movers when it comes to ads?
For individuals, the needle mover is going to be face-to-camera videos. If they're good at face-to-camera videos, they have a really strong shot. If they're relying on the back of AI, like tricks, hype, they sold this new thing program or secret email list, all of that stuff's rubbish. That definitely won't work. In the world of how quickly AI is moving, putting face and personality is very important. Yeah. If the founder or owner, that's the front man, they're pretty good. That's usually perform pretty well.
What do great clients do differently from the average ones?
They sit down and they meet regularly. They don't palm off the work. Yeah. They already have the belief that digital marketing is important. The conflict, you go to a client and you start talking to them and they're like, oh, I don't like Zuckerberg. I don't like this. It's a necessary evil feeling. That's not the right attitude. They should embrace it. Meeting regularly, knowing, asking questions about reporting, these are characteristics. Stay long and get performance. What I'm finding.
A lot of business owners interested in ROI. How long should someone expect to wait before ads work?
6 weeks. SEO, different story. 6 months, the whole thing, there's a theory behind it. Ads, if you're not seeing things moving in the right direction in 6 weeks, you should figure it out. A lot of businesses don't know the right ROI because ROI depends on who's calculating for you. It could be very different. Because if you are selling a house, some agencies will count the whole house as part of the return on ad spend. They say, we spend $100, we've got this lead and they sold $1 million house. So that doesn't make any sense. That's not ROI. You're doing math wrong. For practices and for that audience, figure out how much you can realistically pay for a qualified lead. A lot of the services are recurring. So you could pay quite a bit at the start to acquire that initial lead.
When businesses start ads, what are the biggest mistakes they make?
Biggest mistake is not spending enough. If cost per click is $12, $15 and their daily budget are $20, you're only going to get one click. You're going to be very disappointed in what you're doing. They don't take fees of the agency into consideration. If you're only spending $1,000 a month on ads and the guy's going to cost you $1,000, whatever leads you're getting, you just doubled your own cost per conversion. You just made it impossible for this thing to work. But if you're spending $10,000 on ads and the guy still costs $1,000, because the work's not that much different. Now you have a great chance of trying your sales tactics on the phone. You're getting more coming through. After a month, you spend $10,000, yes, but you got a few good leads, few lessons. Whereas if you spend $1,000 for that whole month, you got nothing out of that month. And all of a sudden, ads don't work anymore. That's the biggest mistake. People take that seriously enough. I've tried to emphasize that many times. The proportion of the fee has to make sense to the total marketing budget. And it's fallen on deaf ears.
For those listening, and you're quoting in Australian dollars, what should business owner, entrepreneur, clinic, practice owners be expecting in terms of how much to pay the ads manager, in-house, freelancer, agency?
Freelancers getting expensive. Back then, Fiverr used to be pretty good. Fiverr and Upwork. The skill level has always been crap. But they used to be pretty good because Fiverr used to be $5 an hour. That's what they used to pay. Now it's gone up a lot more. If you're paying an agency that's local in the USA, looking at about $1,000 a month, right? What that person should be able to do is help you with scripting. They don't have a camera. They're not coming out to you. They should help you with scripting, with competitor analysis to tell you where the open lane is, what are other people not talking about, so you can get cuts through. Help you with setting up the ads tracking. Meeting you fortnightly is about the right cadence. Running ads, you have to find out who's touching that account. That might not be the person you're talking to, right? So you talk to the person doing it, reporting at the end, and their recommendations. At the end of every month, during those meetings, whether they're going to be renewed or not, they should be talking about, here's what's in the pipeline. What we're seeing and what's not working, here's what we should try. If the agency in-house, they're probably looking at outsourcing to the Philippines or South Africa. Be very careful because the moonlighting game is strong these days everywhere. You're not getting the full person. You're getting a little bit of the person, even though you've paid for a full timer. Be super careful maneuvering around that space.
Are areas that do Google Meta ads cheaper in certain countries? Could outsource it that way.
I was talking to someone recently talking about nearshore, South America, that kind of thing. In the Philippines, you're looking at about 22 USD an hour. For good way, that's what we pay a lot of our guys after benefits. In terms of freelancer from India, it's cheaper, but the quality of work, you don't know, because the standard of work is, the Western world's got high standard of work. In the Eastern part of the world, a lot of things are rushed out. If you're talking about a smaller agency or freelancer, if it's onshore, you're looking at 75 an hour for a decent rate. I charge for my agency normally is anywhere between 770 AUD to about 1100 AUD monthly, a standard fee, which is about 700 USD a month.
The elephant in the room, Google versus Meta ads, or both, how to determine?
Google versus Meta ads, it depends on your product or service. If your product or service is novel, it's got a surprising factor to it, it would be better on Meta because it has to be visual. It has to give people the recognition. If your product or offer is hard to articulate with words, it's definitely a lot more budget on Meta. But if your offer is very straightforward, like chiropractor, dentist near me, best review thing near me, it can be mostly Google and you can spend maybe 10% on Meta on remarketing. That's how I would put it. When you have an agency that does both, you have to go fluid based on the reports coming out.
You specialize in Google Meta ads. Why don't you focus on TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn?
We have tried it. It's not reliable. The consistency is not there. LinkedIn is really expensive. The CPM is super high for LinkedIn. TikTok is good for organic TikTok shops and e-commerce. Service business struggle with it. With Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn ads, I don't think they're in the habit of putting out their wallets. If you want to look and go somewhere else and start Googling for publicity, it's okay. But not so much if you go straight to conversion. If you're a performance agency, it's hard to show results.
Are you seeing advertising on Reddit?
I have. We've tried it. It's very tough because they don't like it. The last time we did it, cost per conversion were 10 times what we got on Facebook, Instagram. So it's just a lead magnet. Facebook, Instagram, we were doing cost per conversion at a cost per lead for about $2. And Reddit was like $28. So it was more than 10x. But if the goal is to be omni-channel and be seen everywhere, you should be all these things. The time-saving part is that the assets are already there. It's not like you're creating new video for each platform. The assets are already there. You can definitely pass it around.
When people are using Google ads, are they using it for their blog, website, YouTube? What are they targeting Google ads for?
Google ads, because how expensive it is, they need to get results straight away. So it's all conversion. You're definitely not taking anything to the blog unless you're like a multi-conglomerate billion-dollar company and you just do publicity. Most businesses, when you're doing Google ads, you have to go straight to conversion. You have to drive instant results or make a sale on Google Shopping.
How is artificial intelligence impacting the Google Meta ads game?
ChatGPT came out before Google wanted it to come out. So Google had to scramble and recover. The AI mode, AI overview. Meta, there's no dramas because I think it helps it. In Meta, the ad copy and hooks has gone more mediocre. Everything sounds the same now because of AI. When AI first came out, I was very excited. So we can do these artificial, we can put Dr. Chris in front of a camera, then he can do one script, we can edit, make it 20 different ones. But when people sense it's AI, they turned off straight away. They are distracted and looking at whether is this AI or not. When they ask the question, they're not looking at the offer anymore. They're moving on. They don't even listen to what you have to say. Go, is this AI? It's not AI. And that's what I didn't realize. Now it's come full circle. You can't be doing anything like that. In terms of Google, or about real estate on the page, they had the top 4 spots reserved for advertising. But now AI overview, AI mode has to get a little blurb and take over that. So Google has to try to work ads back into the AI overview. Now everyone's monitoring. ChatGPT try to get revenue, so they are trying to get ads, work ads into it as well. So it's at the moment it's really clunky, but everybody's holding their breath to see how it develops.
While we're on the topic of advertising in ChatGPT, which you alluded to, do you see a scenario for example, we're just hypothetically, I heard this podcast interview where they were talking about Google and Meta ads being saturated. So they were going to TikTok and link ROI on attention. Do you see the same ad game playing out where to get found on ChatGPT, people are going to be paying advertisers, and because it's undiscovered, it's going to be a lot cheaper?
I don't think so. You won't be undiscovered. There's so many people waiting, refreshing browsers to join the trial, some type of beta test, join anything. Everybody's talking about it on the ground. I don't think it's going to be undiscovered. I think as soon as ads go into there, the credibility is going to be questioned. As soon as ads are showing up or try to be blended into some type of answer, I think people would be going to look for a platform that doesn't have ads. Sorry to say, as an ads guy, that's what's going to happen, but that's what happens. When YouTube Shorts first came out, they got everyone hooked without ads.
Oh.
Then, of course, ads come out, Reels. Yeah, so ChatGPT is going to be the same thing. I think that they're going to lose a lot of credibility, and people go to the next platform where it's still organic feel, unfortunately. But people will use ads. Ads will be there. I'll be running it.
How about Gemini?
As part of Google, I think all of the platforms will have to, it depends how they do it, because they keep saying that they're not going to make it the same as keyword or contextual match. So everyone's still trying to figure out, like, say, how are you going to do it? And the first trial in ChatGPT ads was just below the answers and had ads running. That's not very creative. You had a whole year and a half. That's what you came up with. And that was it. I'm so scattered right now. I'll tell you one thing I'm seeing in the small business world. There are businesses saying we're going to help small businesses adapt to AI. I think that they think they've found a blue ocean, but all the small businesses I talk to, they're not that interested in adopting to AI because they've been burned so many times. They are interested in automation. AI engines are coming up with emails, maps, flows, contacting clients, booking things.
I had a guest recently, the episode's going to release tomorrow, talking about platform is the voice interface instead of websites and apps. It's going to be through AI chatbots. How do you envision advertising world where it's a voice only layer?
Voice only layer. That's interesting. Tell me more.
For now, what's going to happen is he's got a directory of websites on his platform. And when people go to the website, it's going to pop up the AI chatbot or a voice. And basically, the more they respond and stay on, Google's going to recognize that with glasses or wearable, instead of pulling up a website, it's just going to be voice. How would advertising work in this medium where it's voice and wearables?
I know how advertising was in terms of vision. Science fiction movies done a lot of that. In terms of voice, I can see it making it more convenient as a complementary to the traditional type. Having as a standalone, it's very scary. You want to be talking, reading, assuming you're talking more. But I don't know if you want to be talking or listening the whole time.
How can people connect and learn more?
Go to the website's going to be the best, digitalglass.com.au, or find me on LinkedIn, Jeremy Yang.